Hi everyone, welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studios, and it is our Color Challenge Thursday. So if you've been to my channel before, you know what we're doing. If you're new to my channel, grab a drink, have a seat, and watch what we're playing with today, because we are working with these 4 colors all month long to create a journal or cards or whatever you want to make, but use these 4 colors as your inspiration. You only have to use 3 of the 4 colors in your piece, and that can change from week to week. The other thing is every Wednesday I draw a stick, and this week we drew to use a sewing pattern in our project. And so I have started mine, and I'll explain to you where we're at and where I'm going from there. So let's take a peek. Now, we had talked about in my journal, let me get things situated here. I've kind of had to restack stuff that I wasn't planning on using. This is my journal cover that I'm doing, and in each there are 5 file folders cut down, and in each one I'm putting a business-sized envelope as a pocket on this side. Let me slide over here, get my scissors out of the way. I've been a little all over the place today. So this is where I'm going to put a business-sized envelope, and this is what I'm working on. I have covered each of the 5 business envelopes with pattern tissue paper, and they're going to glue just right inside of each file folder. Now, I may have to do some trimming, and I'm okay with that. The other thing is, this one didn't come quite over, and I don't have them glued on yet because I'm going to stitch around them. Now, I did not pre-stitch the 4 that I have done because I wanted to wait till I did the one with you today, and then I will stitch around all 5 of them while I've got the machine out. Plus, I will put the fabric on the cover of this journal. So this is where we're at. So let me close this and get these signatures out of the way. Set them over here. Now the other thing is I've cut this, and I'm going to show you how I cut this to go over top of my envelope, and you'll see that I'm going to need to trim a little bit. I can fussy cut, that's fine. And then on the inside, I have my tag. And I just glued this one down, so it's a little damp yet. But I have my tag to go inside. I'm using coordinating cardstock colors from Recollections. These are from Tim Holtz, his Botanical Layers. And then this is the paper pack from Stampin' Up! That I'm using, Autumn, Painted Autumn. So I put this on one side, and on the back I have lined it with kind of a vintagey toned notebook paper from an old spiral, so it's not perfectly white. Now you'll notice I have the scribbles here from my glue. This should be the only one we see that on. Now on the inside, when you pull this out, there's a picture on the inside. These are from Stephanie's Digitals at My Porch Prints. It's her Tall Autumn Journal. And I will link that kit down below. Actually, there's 3 to this collection, and I absolutely love it. So I put one of her cards behind each envelope, so when you pull the tag out, you still see Purdy. So we have this, and I'm going to lay this back over here. Now I have 4 of these completed, except for doing the sewing and trimming. So I'm going to lay those aside. And actually, I'm going to stick them inside my file folder so I don't lose them. I had a set of the whale tail dies from Spectrum Art Creations. I have 2 sets. And I gave my sister 1 set because there's 3 in the kit. I've lost my second set. As in, I'd already lost the first set, now I've lost the second set. Am I upset? Yeah, irritated would be a better word, but they're here somewhere, so I know that much. It's not like they're not around somewhere. So yeah. They're here somewhere. Okay, so I have all the components for doing one of these envelopes. So here's our color from our Botanical from Tim Holtz. Here is our tab for our tag. Here is the envelope I'm going to be using, and actually this is a template, and this is white cardstock. And I'm going to talk about something with the white cardstock here in just a minute. Here is the card that I'm using for my tag, and that's where the butterfly will go. And you'll notice he almost disappears in that. I didn't think that through when I did these. here is my envelope that we'll be using, and I'm going to talk about the template. Now, when you look at this kit from My Porch Prints, I printed these at 65% so they would fit behind the window. So keep that in mind. Okay. Now I started with, I took one of the envelopes apart and I removed the plastic window. So this was removed from this, and I just took the front. I cut a piece of cardstock the size that I needed for my envelope, and when I did this, I didn't think this through very well, because let me show you something. Let me show you something. Look at this envelope and look at this envelope. I forgot that I was having to cut these envelopes down to fit inside the journal. So I'm not worrying about that. I've been trimming them up as I went, and I'm okay with that. So keep that in mind. But I cut me a piece of white cardstock this size. Now, after thinking about this, I could have used the colors of cardstock since I was gluing, since you weren't going to see the back. I could have used some of these junk Recollection cardstocks instead. I didn't think about it. I went ahead and I traced everything onto Walmart cardstock, because that's what I use in my craft room. Now I'm going to glue this down while I'm thinking about it, and then we'll come back to the template. But I want this to be getting dry, so I'm going to run my glue around there. Probably one of the very few envelopes that's opened like that instead of being sliced open with a little letter opener that I own. So we'll have that. And then I'm going to open this very carefully with my X-Acto knife. And I'm going to roll this over so I can see it. And I'm going to roll right underneath there, you know, where I just glued it. Oh, it's been a day, I'll tell you. Everything has gone a little wonky today. Well, see, I'm just letting that slide right across that crease in the envelope. Just like that. Okay. Now, if you have an X-Acto knife, they all come with clear lids. I wrapped mine in a piece of teal duct tape so that I could find the cap easily enough, find it when it's in my holder, and it matches my office. So there is that. Okay, so now we have this cut open. Now let's talk about our template. I have taken this, and I'm saving this one for a template. So I'll always have it. So this is going to replace this for me. But what I did was I laid it down on the envelope, and I traced around the inside. I think I must have picked up the cat somewhere, because I am covered in little gray kitty hair. So I have that, and I'm going to go ahead, and you can see I went through this and I cut an X right through there. And now I'm going to come back with my, now I could use the X-Acto knife all the way around, but it is much faster for me to use my little Fiskars fussy cutting scissors. So I can just whip right around here and cut this out. And then I will always have a template that I can use. I won't ever have to redo this one again. I will keep this with this particular sized envelope, and I will always have the template. Okay, just like that. Cut that little nip out of there. Okay, now I'm going to bring in my piece of cardstock that is going to actually be what I put my sewing pattern paper on. I'm going to line that up. Get out my handy dandy pencil. I'm glad this is a template because I'm making a mess of it. There we go. So there's my template. Got my X-Acto knife. Really apply some pressure there so I get cut through there good. Okay. And now I'm going to cut through this. Now, I think what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to go ahead and glue my sewing pattern down first. So I'm going to lay this down, and you seldom see me use a glue stick, but I do love the Tombow Mono glue stick. And keep in mind, I'm using this only for temporary hold, that I'm going to be going around and sewing the pattern paper down anyway, so I'm okay with this. But I've got it on a sheet backing that I can run glue over. Whatever you use for your gluing surface, whether it's a phone book or a regular book, or I save my big sheets from when I do projects with contact paper. Okay, now this is from the sewing pattern, and I'm not worried about pressing it out flat or anything like that. I just cut it open to a width that I need. And this one has several layers to it. I know I'm going to wind up cutting part of this down, so I'm not worried about where this paper lies. I do want to try and get folds out, but I'm not worried about the wrinkles. And I'm just going to lay this down just like that. And if I've got some spots in there that don't glue really well, that's okay too. Now I'm going to come back with my gluey scissors in case I have any glue in there that I don't want my good scissors. Trim that off. And remember, we're going to lose part of that bottom anyway at some point, but I'm going to go ahead and do this. Now I'm saving these, they're good for clusters, so I have a collection of these sewing pattern cutouts over here that I've been using for other things. Now tomorrow I have for our Friday video, it is going to be a premiere, and it's going to be on time, and it's going to be the video it's supposed to be. I'm so sorry about last week. I did not even have that video on my computer anymore, so it had to be a glitch with YouTube is all I can think, because it wasn't there on my laptop anymore. Okay, so now I can come in here and go ahead and cut this out. And I can just see my pencil marks under there. I have a kitty outside my window. The video that was supposed to be the premiere last Friday got reposted Friday afternoon. So you can go in and see I finished the rest of my guest checks. So I now have 5 guest checks. So those are done, and if you missed that, they will be in the final flip through of this journal, which will be probably the 30th. If not, it'll definitely be on the 1st when we draw and recolor. So now I have that, and that's how quickly it was to create that. Okay, now I know where this is going to go, but first off, let's make sure we have the right length, shall we? So I'm going to, and I didn't want to cut that one down beforehand because I may want to use that as a full-length envelope, and I don't want to have it cut down. So yeah, I'm losing about a 1/2 inch on here, so I'm just going to flip this over, and I'm going to take a 1/2 inch off just like that, and I'll have to come back and glue that in shut, which is fine, but I think that's going to give us, oh, that was perfect. That was perfect. So now I'm going to glue this shut, and I'm going in as thinly as I can in here to glue this down because I do not want to compromise my tag. And of course my tag is now not going to fit really well. I need to take it down, and I've noticed on the others that it has to go down about the 2nd line on this notebook paper. Makes it about right. And I've been saving these little pieces. They're great for clusters. They work well. I want to make sure this is going to fit first. Okay, so that will fit in there just like that. And I'm going to come back with my butterfly, and I'm going to go ahead and glue him in so as I take the cap off the glue. Oh. Okay, now we're going to flip him to where he is going the right direction. And we're going to slide him in here. Okay. So that'll take care of him. Now as I've been doing these, I noticed that my paper's going in a little far, so I need to keep in mind that I really don't want to put that in any farther than about 1/4 of an inch. But before I do that, I need to go around and round my corners. I love this little bitty corner rounder from Hobby Lobby. Just a cute little thing. Great for small projects. I can't use my big one over here on the glass mat from Stampin' Up! Because I can't push down on the glass mat. Let's see why this one is not wanting to play nice. Okay, so we have that. Now I've taken, this is 3 inches by 2 inches, scored it to 1 inch. I closed it, and then I took the bigger corner rounder to it and rounded those corners. And now I'm coming back in with my walnut stain. And I'm going to just hit it with the walnut stain on all the edges. And I'm doing it on the back too, because I want that distress to show on both sides of that tag. Just like that. Okay. And then come back in with my glue. Now I'm going to lay this section down first, and I know I want just a bare 1/8 of an inch or so on there, so that most of this tag is not in the view of the window. Now I am going to be selling this journal when it's all done, with lots of extra ephemera pieces to go with. Clean my glass mat. Okay, so now we have that. That will go in here just like this. But now we need to have that Porch Prince picture in the background. So I've got one of those set out over here to use. And I printed these on 32-pound weight paper. I wanted them to have a little bit of substance to them, but I didn't want them to be really heavy. So I'm going to use this one right here. So I'm going to cut this down first. Put that over there for my scratch paper. I can't believe I'm still up this late. I laid down for about an hour this afternoon. I wasn't feeling well. My back was bothering me, and it has gone from being really nice and pleasant outside to back to being humid again, and I am just about to melt in this office. To the extent that when Bob went in, I had Bob go in and turn the AC on in the bedroom so I could sleep tonight. Oh, I got one more here to go. And we are just about done with this. We will have put this envelope and journaling card together in about 20 minutes. Okay, now this I did not round, but I did come in and distress the colors a little bit. Why? I don't know. It's not going to show on the edges much. More habit than anything. And I didn't worry about rounding the corners. Just like that. And then I came in, and here's where it got tricky. Here's my envelope. And I want this to make sure that it shows through the window. So I lined it up. And I'm going to take about another scant 1/4 inch off of there, because I want this to move over a little bit. So I'll have to redust that edge. When I can't open an ink pad, I know I'm tired. I know I'm tired. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to lay this in to where we want it to show in the window. Okay? Then we're going to turn it over. We're going to take our glue, and we're going to lift this up and kind of get an idea of where we're at. And we're going to scribble the glue from inside just like this. And it doesn't have to be on all 4 corners. It's not going anywhere. But then I just lay that down, give it a smoosh, and now that picture is just where I wanted it. And here goes the tag. And now the only thing I'm going to have to do, whoop, I didn't decorate, didn't dust the edge of my tag. Oh. My ink pad is coming loose from the case. All I have to do now is go around and dust the corners. Whoops. Dust the edges of our tag, just like that. And now we can slide this in. And then the only thing I have left to do to complete this is to stitch around this and then come back and glue it to the front of our journal pocket. So that's it for this week. For this week's challenge, we're going to have one more week with the stick pull, and that's going to come up next Wednesday to see what we're going to do, and then I'm going to put the finishing touches to this journal. In the meantime, remember to like, to share, subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow at the premiere. Remember, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on my channel. Thanks for joining me in the studio. Creative blessings.